What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We are back with another preview video for week 2 of the Autumn Nations. This one is going to be for Argentina versus France. We're going to play as the lower rated team, that is Argentina. For anyone who's not seen any of the other preview videos, what we do is we chuck a game of Rugby 20 on in the background, and then over the top we talk about the official teams announced, who we think is going to do well, who we think is going to do badly, and finally give a score prediction at the end. So this one is going to be a really exciting game, I think. So let's get this one kicked off and underway. Alrighty, Bauer is going to get us kicked off and underway. We'll start off to the left. I don't believe the Argentina side was actually licensed in this game, so that's probably why you're going to see a few names for this Argentina team who won't ever have played for the team, but there we go. So, of course, we've done a whole bunch of preview videos on the channel already for this week too. We've done all of them coming up so far. The next one is going to be France versus Argentina. Now, this was a game, as we see Alvarez already going over for a try. Superb already. We've got a nice one, early one in. This was one of the games that I said I was really looking forward to going into this. There's two teams here that I would say France probably have the advantage going into this, but I'm certainly looking forward to a very tight-knit affair in this game. Let's start off talking about France to begin with. So France had an okay Six Nations, I think it's fair to say. Lost a couple of games we weren't really expecting them to. Beat Wales, taking away that Grand Slam for them right at the end. So they'll be relatively, I think, happy with their Six Nations, but I definitely think they brought the team with them in this Six Nations that could have won it. But there was just a couple of things letting them down, a couple of disciplines, a couple of missing kicks to posts and stuff. They won't have been super happy with it. Looking forward towards the summer tour, they had 3 really good games against Australia. Now, Australia went in with basically a fully fledged team, and France managed to come away. I think they came away with 1 win. I think they won 1 out of the 3 games, but all 3 games were incredibly tight and really holding it together, and France came in with what I would say was probably a B team, France. There were certainly a lot of main players missing. I think they were out with injuries and also people that had to stay within club level and stuff. So they definitely will be happy with the outcome of that summer tournament, even though they lost a couple of games in there. The performances coming through from some of those second players, as we saw in last year's Autumn Nations Cup, they're really gaining this big depth of squad leading towards the World Cup. So going into the Autumn Tour now, going up against Argentina, who are struggling a little bit, but France will certainly look to hopefully get as many wins out of this tour as possible, and they have got some big games coming up, including the likes of New Zealand. So let's talk about this team that's been announced to play Argentina. So starting off in the front row here, so we've got Cyril, Bay, Marchand and Howes. So this is a pretty standard French front row, to be honest, and it's a pretty decent front row. No Camille Chat in this team. However, Marchand was playing brilliant rugby when it came around to the Six Nations and was playing all right. I've seen a good few games from him now, playing really good rugby, as well as Cyril Bay. I think between them, this is looking like quite a strong scrum going up against Argentina, who love their scrums. They love the forward pack. They love getting in. A lot of mauls, a lot of scrums, trying to dominate a team. You're going to want a strong front row. I think France have brought a strong front row. In terms of tight head, potentially a couple of penalties could be given away there. There are other potential people that can go in there, people like Bamba and so on, but I think as a front row, it's pretty solid. Moving back towards the locks, at number 4, Flamand, I'm going to guess. Unfortunately, not a name I know, so sorry for any terrible pronunciations I'll do for this French team. And Valemsa in that 5 shirt. So Valemsa is someone I know a lot more about, certainly doing well in that lock department. Again, just penalties, just want to keep it down. He does get himself in a couple of issues sometimes in terms of those lineouts and so on, with putting his arm across and touching players and stuff. But in terms of winning their own lineouts, very good player for that. Again, there's a lot of players that could go in there for that number 4 shirt as well. So we'll have a look at how Flamand, I'm not really sure of the pronunciation for him. We'll have a look how he gets on. Looking at the back row, at number 6, Kos, 7, Woki, and at 8, Jalanche. Now, this was a 3 that began to work very well together in that summer tour. There's a couple of people that can go in a lot of these different positions. I'm noticing here no Aldrit and no Charles Olivon. So there's a couple of people missing there from the starting team, but it's worth putting these sort of secondary players on. Kos can play both the the 6 or the number 8 when he needs to. Jelonch is playing good rugby at the minute. Very quiet. I always say this about him, as when he tends to play the captaincy role, he isn't for this game. That's been given to Dupont. But when he does play the captaincy role, I feel like he's very quiet talking to the referee, so maybe that's why the switch has been given here. But it's an interesting call not to have him as captain. He's done a captain a few times now over the summer and in his past before. So, but we'll see how they get on there. But as a 1 to 8, all of them looking pretty strong. This is a good setup for a scrum. In terms of lineouts as well here, I'm already seeing there Valemsa, Jelonch, Woki, all of them are willing to get up in the air on a lineout and can win back a lot of balls. So the Argentina lineout, that can work well for them, but they tend to have less jumpers in the Argentina lineout. So I wouldn't be surprised there if we see a bit of a French domination when it comes to the lineout. Looking towards the backs and the half-back partnership, Dupont and Jalibert. Now this was a big call because, of course, Romain Ntamack also in this team. But it was going to be a big toss-up between who was going to be able to win that 10 shirt. Of course, Ntamack can play in a couple of different positions. Jalibert, as far as I'm aware, is mainly a fly half. I think he can also play fullback if he needs to, but typically goes in at a fly half when they need him for the France team. Dupont is just brilliant. There's a lot of talk about being the best in the world at the minute in terms of scrum half positions. Dupont certainly puts his name up there. Player of the tournaments and stuff being ranked in. Very, very good player. Very good at getting the ball out. Looking at the centre partnership then, like we said, Romain Ntamack and Ficou. 2 very talented players bring very different skills to this team. I actually quite like this setup. Ficou, a much more, again, he sort of goes in as like a co-captain a lot of the time, but also a defensive centre. Playing in that outside centre in terms of 13. Does find gaps quite a lot, but as a defensive worker, very, very good. In terms of Romain Ntamack, we'll be seeing that running play we see from him so much, the interceptions, the open play, but also the kicking from hand that he has is so good. So 2 very different, diverse tactics there. So they can play one way for the first half. If it's not working for them, they switch it up completely. I like the look of it. And finally in the back 3 then, Villiers, Damien Penaud and Jaminet. So again, 3 top-tier players here. They're not messing around with this Argentina team, even though Argentina haven't been getting on brilliantly for the last few months. France know not to mess about with them too much. Villiers, I've really been quite impressed with since he came over from the Sevens and stuff. I think he's playing good rugby. He's definitely getting a couple of tries here and there. Damien Penaud, again, good into the high ball, good speed, good strength. I think that works well. And Jaminet slowly working in. They've just got a range of people now to play in that fullback position. You've got Boutier as well that can also go there. There's a good couple of names now that can be going in that 15 shirt. So competition high, that's good. It allows you to have more and more players getting in. Jaminet got a good boot on him as well, can definitely get some good distance, and he's got quite good ground coverage. Of course, now we've got things like the 50-22 new rule coming in. You definitely want good back coverage. As we get a final kick over here, there we go, it's nice to see that one. We'll go into half time. We'll have a look at some quick subs here. We can probably leave without doing any subs, to be honest. So while we're doing no subs, we'll talk about the French sub. So looking at the finishers here, so Muivaka going in that replacement hooker, Gross coming in the prop department, as well as Bamba. So a heavy set front row here that's going to come on in that second half. I think it's a really good move. Like I said, that Argentinian team is definitely going to be difficult to deal with in terms of scrummaging. So you want to get as many big lads in there as possible, and I think that scrummaging will work well. Moving further towards the other forwards then, Taufai Fanua, hopefully, again, penalty, just discipline, but a very good player on the pitch. And Gregory Aldrit, which will be coming in. Very powerful number 8. I wonder if he'll come on for Jelonch, or I wonder if he'll come on at 8 and someone else will take over at 6. There's a couple of different manoeuvres they can have there. It gives you pretty decent coverage at the back. Oh, we also have Makalou. I completely missed that out. Sorry, Makalou there. So we're a 6-2 split. So France obviously aware of what Argentina are going to bring in terms of the forwards. Makalou I really like as a player. I think he's doing fantastic work. Can play either 6 or 7. I've seen him also play 8 a tiny little bit as well. But a very, very good player. Jackal rate is brilliant. Tackle rate's good and also can be used in the lineup when you need him to. So I think a very good setup there. They've got a great deal of coverage in the forwards. And then finally at 22, Luku, not a name I know, unfortunately. And finally, Dante in that 23 shirt will come on at centre at some point. May come on for Jalibert, and we see Ntamack move into the number 10. May come on as a direct sub for Ntamack, and we might see Ficou and Dante swap around a little bit. But good coverage across the whole team, really. I think this is a very strong-looking France team, and I think they'll be looking to get in here and really show off some good work against this Argentina team, who we should probably move on to talk about, because we are now quite deep into the second half by accident here. So Argentina, yeah, not having the best few months, losing most of their games, or all of their games, in their Rugby Championship against New Zealand, Australia and South Africa. They got 1 draw and 1 win against Wales, which was quite a low-end Wales team. It was a B team, borderline C team in that summer series, and coming away with a draw and a win. They may not have been too happy with just that. I think they would have wanted 2 wins from that, but they've got to look forward now and try and get some decent wins in here. They've definitely had a lot of game time together. They should be looking to try and improve. So looking at the team, let's pop it on screen for you guys. We're starting off in the front there. Thomas Gallo, Julian Montoya taking over as the captaincy for this one. We definitely see that swap between Montoya and Pablo Matera every so often. And finally, Gomez Cordella in that final prop department. In terms of the locks, Guido Petty and Thomas Lavanini. Lavanini, sorry, I'm going to pronounce that completely wrong. There's definitely, experience and caps in there now. Again, two lads that like to get in the lineouts. Again, I think the only problem with this Argentina team is discipline. We see so many penalties coming from this Argentina team. They've just got to try and avoid it as much as possible. Looking further back, Pablo Matera, Marcos Kramer, and Issa. Again, Kramer, another big one for giving away those penalties. If you can hold back from doing that, it will be very, very useful. Towards the backs then, Thomas Cubelli and Santiago Carreras coming in that halfback partnership. No Nicolas Sanchez there starting this game is a big call, but of course they've also got to have some big games coming up over this autumn tour. Don't want any injuries, not a terrible move. In the centre partnership, again, another solid partnership here. De La Fuente and Moroni. Again, 2 lads playing well. De La Fuente is a hard man to stop once he gets a good running pace behind him. And finally, in that back 3, Mateo Carreras. Not sure if it's any relation to Santiago. Not actually sure. If anyone is an Argentinian subscriber, feel free to drop that down in the comments. Batista Delgui. And finally, Boffelli. So this is also quite an experienced Argentina team. These are the teams that we've been seeing some of the big boys against, like New Zealand, South Africa, Australia. They've not been coming away with the wins, but they're definitely beginning to get this team a bit more gel together now. Looking ahead towards that World Cup, they've definitely got their set team beginning to take shape. And I don't think it's a bad 15, to be fair. I think the France 15 is slightly better to me, but if Argentina can get it together, we have seen them beat New Zealand about a year ago, so no reason they can't be looking to take this game. And quickly as we're getting towards the end of the game, let's take a quick look at the substitutes. We got Bosch, Martinez, Medrano. Santiago Medrano is a good player as well. Lucas Paulos, Gonzalez, Bertrano. Oh, Bertrano's in there as well again, so there is an experienced bench here as well as Nicolas Sanchez also going to come in there. And Cinti, Lucio Cinti, is not someone I know a great deal. However, Bertrano and Sanchez are 2 very experienced players, so we'll be seeing them come on in that second half just to re-bolster the team. If there's any points being dropped there, hopefully they'll come on in that second half and just sort of steady the ship a little. So in terms of a score prediction then, well, for me, I think Argentina are still struggling a little bit, and I haven't seen any reason to believe they're going to have turned this around completely going into this game. So my bet's going to go, I'm going to say it's going to be a France win. Now, France have bolstered their team a lot from we've seen in that Australian game, and they were certainly putting points on Australia. There's no reason they can't be scoring quite big points. However, it's about how many points they're also going to concede against Argentina, but Argentina not really scoring a great deal of tries, bar sort of 5-metre mauls and so on. So I think for me personally, I'm probably going to call a France win, and I'm going to say France to win by 16, I think is what I'm going to go through. I think they'll get over that 2-try marker. And I think with the likes of both Jalibert and Entamac on the field, I think points will be relatively easy to come by. The Argentinian discipline, not necessarily the best at times. And if you give the penalty opportunities to these players, they will certainly be taking the 3 points when they become available. And I could see in that first half maybe the scoreboard getting away from Argentina a bit and them having to rely on those 5-metre mauls. But I'm sure it'll be a good game. It'll be quite a close game. It's one of the games I'm really looking forward to see this weekend. Most of all, just to see how Argentina managed to hold up and see what comeback France are going to do with all their big players back, especially with some of the big games coming up like New Zealand. But I hope you all enjoyed today, guys. If you have, remember to drop this video a like and subscribe to the channel just to keep up to date with all of these rugby preview videos as they come out, as we will be doing them for all of the autumn internationals as they're going on this year. I hope you're all looking forward to some decent rugby again. I really enjoyed getting back into watching some live rugby last week, and I can't wait to see more on the TV. So I hope you all enjoyed today, guys, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.